Hello everybody, now we're going to do the second part of the video for the Balikbayan boxes. I just got back from bringing Macy her shake and her grilled egg and cheese, and I'm ready to roll here. So I wanted to give you some ideas in here what you can do for the Balikbayan box that I think as a holistic health practitioner over the years that I believe that would be some of the most critical things that you can and should consider sending. As I've said in other videos, we send Balikbayan boxes as often as we can, like all you guys do, because you love your family and that's what you should do. But there are things that, for me, in my dollars, not just about money, but it's about practicality and reality. For me, you can send all kinds of little goodies, but when it comes down to it, if you don't have your health, you don't have much of anything, do you? So we're going to address some things that. A few things here that I believe are critical to your family's health, whether they're in the Philippines, Japan, United States, wherever. These are things that are critical to have. Or whether you're in the provinces, you're in the jungle, or you're in the woods here, these are things that can help you get through. So outside of your bandages and all those other things for general health and emergency situations, these are some things that are pretty critical for both acute and chronic issues. So we'll do that. So like I said, in most of our almost every package we send, now I don't have complex Bs here. B vitamins are very important. What I do have is a multivitamin which has B vitamins in it. But you can get, especially in the Philippines, I mean, everybody's got chickens, which is great. I think it's awesome. But you get your B vitamins there, and there's other ways you got to get your B12 and other things. There's various ways of getting your B vitamins, but these are the ones that are a little. You just can't get enough, actually. It's not only in the United States where nutrients are, or the soils are depleted, it's all over the world. And toxic, to top it off. But for us, in most of our package, especially for Lola Sasabo, we try to make sure that we send, make sure she's got plenty of complex B vitamins. When we always try to make sure that for our family and the other boxes that we've sent to churches there and to schools and stuff like that, that we always have a good amount of iodine in it. We'd love to send more at times, but they can get rather expensive. But I'm going to try to do all this stuff in a budget, here where we can help a whole family here for $100 for three months worth of pretty potent stuff. So I'll start from your left to right, and I'll try to cover a few bases, and we'll try to make this short. But here we have Dimusol, which is is phenomenal for. Not only as a general nutrient, for sulfide and sulfur and stuff like that, but it's something that's major for pain, and it also crosses the skin barrier very well. So if you're going to use something like magnesium chloride, this is magnesium glycinate, so that's an oral form. But if you're going to make magnesium chloride for, let's say, achy joints and achy knees, this would be wonderful to put on there, because not only does magnesium chloride do wonders itself, but then when you add that, it soaks that magnesium chloride right into the tissues, and I know that to be effective. I've used it and had people use that dozens of times, and Dimusol is so effective and wonderful to have. That should be a part of a package. But as I've said before, for me, if I had to have a single top one that I would always consider, it would be iodine. It's hugely antifungal. It's anti-cancer. We know that it triggers the P53. As far as cancer goes, it's major antiviral, it's major anti-bacterial, major anti-parasitic. So when you're out there, and let's say, for instance, like I said in my other videos, you need good clean water. That's what you're going to use. That's a powerful tool, and it's been around for a couple hundred years with trillions of doses used, and massive doses far beyond our RDAs here that are incredibly safe. So anyway, so we'll go from Dimusol, and then we have probiotics, of course. And you see in the shake I made before, that's obviously got natural probiotics. There's a lot of ways to get that. Knox gelatin, that's one thing that's a great inexpensive thing to do for pain. I used to put that in our shakes. I don't do it so much anymore because I don't have any pain. Fortunately, like I said, I'm almost 56 years old, and I don't have any joint pain. I don't have any pain today. I have any pain whatsoever to speak of. I have my own issues, but pain isn't one of them. So that's one of the things, one of the tools I use, because it's great for eliminating pain. It also helps rebuild tissues in the joints, and it's a good thing to use. And if you don't use it, well, go ahead and make your jelly and your cello. So it's one way or another, it's worth a dollar spent, and it doesn't cost much. I think 2 of these tubs are about 25 bucks. And they go a long way. I used to put 1 scoop into a whole shake for all 3 of us, and I don't know, you probably get 100 scoops out of that. I won't look at it now, but so vitamin E is another critical one. That's awesome. Great for heart disease, great for angina, heart pain, different things. There's a whole host of things, migraines, you name it. And of course, vitamin C is a critical one. I've got the book here. I love Dr. Levy. I've talked to him quite a few times, communicated with him, I should say. And he's been very helpful, but he's a heck of a guy. He's very down to earth. But he's probably the top vitamin C person in the world. And I'm going to say there's a lot of great people out there. There's a doctor in particular that's online that sells product and is very, you know, gung-ho as far as getting the whole vitamin C and the full spectrum stuff. And I think that's great. I love the guy. But you will find that over the last 100 years and hundreds of thousands, some studies, including all the work that the two-time Nobel Prize winner Linus Pauling did, was virtually all ascorbic acid synthetic. And as Levy says, it's the same molecule. But bottom line is, when you're talking about everything he has in this book, which is every virus known to man, when that was written, proper doses of ascorbic acid in large doses, intramuscularly or IV, in different ways that was given, neutralized every known virus at that time. So that's one to always consider, and a powerful one. Magnesium glycinate's great to have because just so many people, especially our elderly, just don't get enough of the greens that we need. Now pretty much everybody doesn't. So that's one thing that you want to consider strongly. A good multivitamin is great. It's something well-rounded that you get all your stuff in there. You know, whatever that is. Maybe it's chromium if you don't have that. So you can get a lot of these things in all of it, most all of it, except for generally speaking iodine. I shouldn't say that because a lot of them have that in there, but just try to find a good, well-rounded, quality multivitamin that doesn't have all the garbage like maltodextrin and aspartame and stuff like that in it that make it a kind of an anti-nutrient versus anything. Of course, always it's best to get things whole, but a good multivitamin can go a long way. Of course, a chromium pick. So take a peek at my diabetes video I did today. I discussed that in a little more detail. Chromium pick is something that, especially if you're diabetic, you want to have. And knowing that rice is a huge factor in that culture and around that part of the world, and here as well. Chromium pick is something you should seriously want to consider, especially again if you're diabetic. Be that type 1 or type 2. Again, go back to my, if you will, go back to my diabetes video that I just did, and you'll see some pretty impressive stuff when it comes to type 1 and type 2 diabetes. Type 1 diabetes, if you didn't know, if you 50 mg over a milliliter, 50 plus eliminates, I shouldn't say eliminates, but reduces the risk of type 1 diabetes by some 66%. That's just vitamin D. And again, when you're considering type 1 diabetes, consider looking into the history of mycotoxins in the Langerhans islets of the pancreas, and that'll go a long way for you. So the other one here is hugely important. Selenium, massive for the heart. It's major antifungal. It does so many things, and the 2 of these together, especially the Lugol's iodine, which is great. You know, iodine alone, I don't use iodine. Lugol's iodine, which is iodine and potassium iodide, cover all the glands, whereas just iodine alone covers a few very important ones, but that's the well-rounded way to go, and it's just as inexpensive as iodine itself. So this is the combination here are critical. You'll find that it was a Dr. Schrauzer who was I think he may have won a Nobel Prize for his work on selenium methionine, says use the selenium methionine, not selenium alone. That's where the power's at. That's what I use. I use 400 to 600 micrograms a day for congenital heart disease, among other things, a lot of other things. Wiping out mycotoxins and whatnot. So these 2 alone, these 2 together, I should say, when you're talking about thyroid health, that's great for the T4, T3 conversion. That's what's needed, and you're on your way. So these things are very powerful. Like I said, they're very antifungal, anti-cancer, antiviral, antibacterial, antiparasitic. These are just tools that you can really use for your family and loved ones to really get them through. and especially again, you know, unfortunately in you know, my wife's family did all they could and they did wonderfully, but there were some tools that we wished we were able to send to her father before he passed, and you know, that's how life is, you know. But you know, in hindsight, it's easy to say. But some of these things is best when you can have them on hand, so you can wipe out those cysts, you can wipe out those nodules, you can wipe out those, you know, rashes you don't understand. You can do things that are right there that your family can have, so you don't have to wait for a month or 2 or 3 for the items to get there that they may not be able to afford. So we're talking about critically life-saving things that can be very critically life-saving. We all know, especially in recent years, that how important vitamin D is in all of these. But that's sunshine. And again, like I said in my other video, you girls that are using the anti-bleaching or the bleaching things for your skin, you got to realize how gorgeous your dark skin is. That's the way God and nature made you, and it's beautiful. I don't know anybody that doesn't think it's beautiful. So you know, that's one of the things that attracted me most to my, you know, my wife, other than her, you know, huge smile and great attitude and loving heart. She's a very giving person, but as far as, you know, physically, I mean, she's just got beautiful skin. And you know, the more sunshine, the darker it gets, of course. You know, when you got darker skin, you got to do a little bit more get a little bit more time in the sun. But keep it healthy. You know, keep the bleaching agents off your skin and stay beautiful that way. So anyway, that's a couple ideas. Hopefully, if you have any questions or comments, you know, on what you might. This is only a few. You know, this isn't an exhaustive group of nutrients. Just a few ideas that I think are pretty critical when you're talking about pain and when you're talking about, again, something that may arise like, you know, a cyst out of nowhere or a breast nodule out of nowhere. Let me add here that, let's say like the iodine here, we will always try to send a few of the povidone swabs I've so often talked about. You know, whether that's for, that's topically, well, I mean, it's generally topical, that's how we use it, generally speaking. Topically, or they can actually be used vaginally in other ways too, and orally for that matter. If you had a tooth infection, gum infection, you could actually take the povidone swab and stick it right on the inside along with your clove oil and whatnot. So I didn't get into that. Now I just reminded myself I didn't get into some of the very important other nutrients that you could use, or other oils and stuff. You know, I mean, there's a lot of great ones out there. Clove is a top one, I would say. And it's highly antioxidant. So that's one that's great for pain. When we talk about teeth and other things, I use that for the throat spray. You guys might have seen that in my recent video. That can be a phenomenal throat spray that wipes out throat pain pretty quickly. And to top it off, it's antiviral and antibacterial and antifungal. So that, along in my throat spray, the clove oil, the grapefruit seed extract, and iodine all in one simple spray is so powerful, and it tastes great. It makes pretty good breath spray as well. So anyway, I think I'll end there, and I hope that this is helpful for your Balikbayan box, and I hope I'm saying that right. But you know, I'm sure that my wife or daughter will correct me on it. But anyway, it's that's okay. That's great. I stand corrected often. But try to get some of these in there. Again, if you want to have decide. It does vary from person to person again, but when you're talking about giving somebody for the elderly in general, let's say for our Lola Sasabo, critical for a good multivitamin, Lugol's iodine, vitamin C, and that goes so far. And throw in a little bit of DMSO in there for the occasional bang up. Now, one thing about DMSO, a lot of people don't like it because it actually gives you a bit of a garlic smell on your breath. But what would you rather have, a little garlic smell on your breath or a whole lot of pain? And there's a good chance that the DMSO, along with other things, can really be a factor on eliminating some of that pain. Okay, so that'll be it for now. Hopefully I get another video out again. If you have any comments or questions, or you have some ideas you'd like me to touch on some future videos, please let me know. I'd love to hear from you. Okay? And actually, this supply like this, probably what, $7,500 for a 3-month supply? Pretty good. Okay, love you. See ya.